Do you feel like you should have more friends? Do you feel disconnected or maybe even lonely? Like somehow as an adult, making and maintaining friendships seems weirdly hard. If you feel that way, you're not alone. But here's the thing. What if I told you deep friendships aren't actually the key to feeling more connected? Science tells us that casual connections, sometimes called weak ties, those everyday interactions with people we don't really consider real friends, those connections are actually just as powerful, if not more, for our happiness and sense of belonging. So that means the barista you chat with every morning, the guy you nod to at the gym, that coworker that maybe you can't quite remember their last name or what they do, but you chat with them. Those weak ties, we're going to call them micro connections, but those weak ties could be making a bigger impact on your overall well being more than that best friend that you barely see. So, today I'm going to talk about the science of these micro connections or weak ties, right? Moments of friendliness with someone else, why they matter more than ever, and how you can use them to feel more connected without feeling that pressure of like making more real friends. All right. Hey, I am Sarah or Sass. This is Practice Your Positive Daily, the podcast where we talk about what really moves the needle when it comes to energy, confidence, and connection. Our goal is happy, healthy, connected. And today we're talking about connection. We need it more than ever, but we're going to talk about it in a way that most people don't think about it. So strap in. I got some good news for you, but you got to open your mind. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to find our people, right? I need a best friend. I want to build deep friendships and maintain strong social circles. And yes to all of that. Yes to having a bestie. Yes to finding your tribe. But also, let's just be real. It's hard as an adult. Life is full. You've got your work and your family responsibilities. I know sometimes I meet someone great and we hit it off and we're texting, but it takes some time to merge them into my life. I already keep a busy schedule. So when I do make a new friend, it takes some effort. And so here's what is really interesting though. We're going to think about this in a different way. Science, I know, here we go. It shows us that real friendships, those deep, that text in your bestie kind of friendships aren't the only way to feel socially fulfilled. That's great because, in fact, casual connections, what we're going to call them micro connections, these moments of friendliness with acquaintances and neighbors and even total strangers, they play a massive role in your happiness, which is great because those people are everywhere and you totally have the power to tap into that power and energy of connection. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the science behind it so that you believe me. We're going to talk about rethinking what friendships and friendliness means. And then we're going to talk about 3 ways to hop right in and do it. And hey, it's all practice, right? I love this one. Connection has made a huge, huge change in my life. And I'm so excited to share it with you for the same change. So let's start with the science. All right. You might have heard of or been following the 85-year study on happiness. So this was done by Harvard. It's one of the longest running studies on human well-being. And it found the number one predictor of happiness is social connection. Look at me again. I'm a registered dietitian who's a mindset coach. And the number one key aspect to being happy is social connections. Social connections. All right, let that sink in for a moment. But the good news is there, if you think about, oh, geez, I don't have enough friends. The good news is it's not just deep friendships that matter. Regular casual interactions also contribute to that sense of belonging, that sense of social connection. And again, that's great because those folks are everywhere. All right, number 2, we're going to talk about psychologist Jillian Sandstrom. So her studies found that having more light social interactions, right? We're thinking again about those micro connections, those moments of friendliness, those weak ties, having more moments of light social interaction throughout the day improves your happiness just as much as close friendships. Again, we don't have to wait for that best perfect bestie to feel connected. People who regularly engage with acquaintances and neighbors and strangers report feeling just as connected and less isolated. And why does this matter? Okay, so the research proves it, but like just for everyday people, how does this make sense, right? Let's kick the tires, right? We got to think about these things critically. Does it make sense? If you have these small micro connections with people, it makes you feel like you belong in the world. Number one, and we all want to belong. It's one of our deepest, most embedded like needs as human beings is a sense of belonging. Also, it increases your confidence. Think about all those little interactions as practice. Everyone builds that social momentum. When you tell a joke to the cashier and they laugh, you think, oh, I'm pretty funny. This is worth talking to people, right? So it's practice, and practice builds confidence. Why do you think I'm always telling all of us to practice? Why the practice is so beautiful? Because it gives you the confidence. And the last point, when you think about this critically, is that when you engage outside your normal social circle, you're going to be open to new perspectives, new ideas, new opportunities. We've talked before, we want our minds open and flexible and expansive. And we do that by interacting with people that aren't just like us. Basically, friendships, they aren't just about like this deep soul swapping information. It's about frequency, variety, and interaction. So what if we redefined friendships and connection to be a little bit simpler, right? Instead of thinking like, geez, I need a best friend, or I need to find my tribe, I need to find 2 or 3 deep confidence. What if the goal instead of finding a friend, making a friend, was to have more interactions, right? I want more interactions. I want to be open to small moments of connection. I want to engage with my community. Set yourself up with a new expectation. And again, we know forcing it doesn't work. So set yourself up with an expectation just to have more interactions, just to practice being friendly, right? Your brain doesn't need a ride or die best friend to feel socially satisfied. I don't have a ride or die best friend, but I feel socially satisfied because I know folks all over the community, and I know every day, every interaction, I can have those. To make this super duper simple, 3 things you can do today to feel more connected without the pressure of making real friends by tapping into these micro connections, these moments of friendliness. All right, number 1, acknowledge the micro connections you already have in your life. Right now, think about your day. Think about who you recognize and already interact with. So this could be that coworker who's in a different department that you always kind of chat or compliment, the regulars at your yoga class or at the gym or at your hobbies. Who are the people that you see that you nod, you say, hey, you think, I don't really know that guy, but yeah, I always say hi to him. That barista who takes your coffee order, who asks about your weekend. All those little interactions, just start noticing them, feeding them, giving them acknowledgement. If you're following along with Practice Your Positive, I love a snap. So when you see these good things, snap, right? Acknowledge those things. You already have folks in your life. So acknowledge them. Number 2, engage in small moments of friendliness. So the next time you see someone, just casually interact with a little bit more than you normally would say. So instead of just saying like, thanks at the coffee shop, say, hey, how was your morning going? What time did you get off work? Do you have plans? Right? Maybe that sounds like you're hitting on them, but ask a few questions, right? Make some conversation. I always compliment, right? Hey, I like those earrings. Where did you get those? Or, hey, that's a pretty color on you. Instead of just seeing that neighbor and waving, say like, hey, how's it going? Or what about that? Or I love that plant. Just take those little conversations you might be having, those little moments, and just open the door to a little bit more. All right. And number 3, remember, you don't have to have a full-on conversation. The point is not to show up and throw up and tell them all about your childhood trauma. The point is just to have that little natural interaction. And so put yourself in places that make that easy. We talked last week about going out in the world more, right? Going out to community events, sitting at the park, Put yourself in places where social interactions are possible. You're not going to force them, but again, maybe take a workout class instead of just always working out alone, or attend a community event. I live in St. Pete and there's tons of them. Every weekend there's something to do. Or sit at the same coffee shop, or take a walk in the same park at the same time. Get yourself into a rhythm with life so that you can have those little interactions and feed them. They'll build over time, and then you can kind of see who morphs into better friends, who might have another network, or they might know somebody, and how that can feed your life. It's really a beautiful thing to open up. All right. Great one. I love the power of connection. So let's recap. You don't need more big, huge bestie friendships. You need more micro connections, moments of friendliness. These are small, everyday interactions that can boost your happiness and your confidence. Start building them today. You already have folks in your life that you're doing with, so keep it up with those. Step it up to the next level with the folks that you wave to, maybe say hi, and then start putting yourself in places where you can consistently see the same people. All right, I love this. I want to hear from you. Do you have a micro connection? Do you recognize these people in your life? Maybe it's your barista, your neighbor, your postal carrier, a coworker. Drop me a message or a comment. I love to hear what's working for you. Incorporate that and celebrate your wins as we all do this together. And remember, if this episode helps you, make sure you subscribe for more energy, confidence, and science-backed strategies to live happy, healthy, connected. Until next time, I love you. Keep showing up. Keep creating moments of connection, just like this one we're having now, and keep practicing your positive.